Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about the transition when you're in the middle of a transition. When a mom is pregnant with a baby, initially you don't really feel too much. But as the baby grows, you start to feel them in your rib cages and sitting on your bladder, and it gets real uncomfortable. And that's exactly how it is in the middle of a transition. I'm in the middle of that transition too, and it's an uncomfortable place because God is stretching me in places that I didn't even know I needed to be stretched in. But it's all for our good. The question is what do we do when we're in the middle of a transition? How do we maintain focus? How do we stay on top of all the many things that we have to do? If you are like me and maybe you are working a full-time job and you have multiple responsibilities and you're being an entrepreneur, it is difficult sometimes to know, how do I juggle all of these things? Well, for me, one of the things that I'm having to do is make a list and stick to the list. The second thing I'm having to do is to not overwhelm myself. I can't do everything in one day. And the third thing I'm having to do is stay a little bit closer to God, just so that I know what that next critical step is. But one of the things that I feel in this transition is I feel this sense of uneasiness. I'm used to the familiar. I'm used to my job. I'm used to the way that I do it, but I'm being called to do things a different way. I'm being called to have a different mindset and a different outlook and a different perspective on what it is that God is calling me to do. And oftentimes we are so used to holding on to what is familiar that we don't allow God and we don't allow the room for the new to come into our life. And that is a challenge for me as well. I am moving through that transition as well. So if you are feeling that same thing, if you're feeling that same grind, you're feeling that same uneasiness, maybe what you used to do or what you're used to doing is not quite as satisfying as it used to be, and you're being pulled or called to something else, I encourage you to lean into that. Remember, you're not going to be able to do everything. You're not a superwoman, you're not a superman, whatever the case is, but it is okay to feel the uncomfortableness of birthing something new. And just like a mom with a baby, you go through those changes in your body. We go through the changes, we go through changes